I got a lot of case screws. Ba-ba-ba-da-bum-bum-bum. Oh yeah, my head is shining. There's not much to do in 20 minutes. You have a cup of tea in 20 minutes. How we doing? We're good? We're good? Yeah, we're good. Okay. Feels like I should have done something else. Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to Rin Furniture. We are carrying on with our armrest table. We're going into jig zone, is probably the best way to put it. Anyway, it's a bit complicated what I'm about to explain, so please forgive me. We are wanting to get this semi-accurate. I might try and find bigger screws, so let's try and do that first. These screws just didn't really stay in there. These are longer, which is good. Okay, the fence is 19 from the edge. Let's go tight enough. Are you tight enough? Ooh, ooh. I'm sounding like I'm kind of saying something gross. We'll try that again now, because miraculously it stopped raining. It didn't actually rain a lot. Attempt number 2. Yeah, that cutting wasn't the smoothest. The final result, I wouldn't want to make a piece of furniture out of it, to be honest. Feels like I should have done something else. Okay, yeah, should have done something else. Oh, but we have some sort of success. It's a joint. I mean, it's a terrible joint, but it's a joint nonetheless. The real problem here is the depth. We just can't get the depth. Since we're here, let's just go deeper. 3 mil. Well, that was a lot better. Key here, make this fence thinner. I can come back and just go deeper and deeper. It's super gappy. It's just ugly. It's getting there. There's hope. If you've enjoyed anything about this video, please give it a like. So this one's kind of quite out of square, and then I've tried to correct every time I've changed the depth. So there's actually a little bit of lip in there. We need to get this fence smaller, then we don't have to go so deep on the first pass, and then we can just slowly increase it. This is the edge that this fence is running against, but it's not enough, and I really need something considerably thicker on both sides. So something that's this long means that, you know, this fence is going to be less affected by it. So that's about it for today. Haven't really done much today because I'm doing so much of the 3D printing. And I did do quite a bit of 3D printing. I just modified these 2 components, got them perfect, just the way I needed them. But of course, I got a little sick. Hello again, Sebastian here. We are carrying on with the armrest table. Of course, last time you saw me, it was about a month ago. In my time, in your time, it's maybe a week, hard to say. And I got sick, and I had problems with my eye, and then I had problems with my teeth, and then it's too much. Too much. I keep jibber-jabbing too much. You don't need to know half of the stuff that I'm telling you. You only need to know a small bit. Basically, I was sick. We've done a few modifications. Well, one major modification is this red piece is now thinner. So we will set up, we will get our protective clothing on, and then we will give this a little bit of a burn. This also will have to reflect what we do in the final product. So whatever crazy idea I come up with has to work for both this and for the oak that I'm cutting this out of. Having a variety of different clamps is always a good thing. I love these types of clamps. You can just get so much force on them. And we will close this door when we start. Remember the door. Remember the door. Remember the door. All of these pieces of wood are all bent and buckled and stuff. And putting a square on this is going to be a bit pointless, I think. Actually, you know what? That works. But of course, this is now quite heavy and isn't quite tall enough. This is going to be not fun if this doesn't work. I can already see it not working because it's going to be too heavy. So that's going to be quite a bit. Okay, so the second problem is they're not all flat. So this is going to struggle to go along.
I had to contemplate and fast forward.
Okay, my brain's turning around. We'll give this a shot. If it doesn't work, we'll come back and we will construct some sort of jig. Okay, safety equipment. So first thing, safety equipment. Always by the door. Remember the door. Got everything we need. Battery. Will the door close? Door will not close.
Remember the door! Oh, remember the door! That's basically just something I made up while I was editing, by the way.
Right, okay. Take number 5.
Are you enjoying my videos? Well, if you are, maybe you could subscribe so then you can get notified that I make other videos.
Okay, well, was that a success? Well, I can tell you this much. The measurement here is not exactly even. Either this distance or the distance between the bit and the fence here, adjustable fence. That's okay. Of course, I have a feeling this whole thing is just going to fall over. It's not far off. Oh, nearly. It's nearly there. I mean, it's not tight. Some of it goes in. That's the important part. We'll just go to the middle, because the middle technically should be straighter. Fit is about the same. Definitely better. I just need a hammer. Change to a sledgehammer. Now, did that work? Well, so from the look of it, it is in no way clean. I wouldn't put this on furniture, not at all, which is a bit of a worry. I think it's time to make a jig. I'm thinking I get basically a piece of wood here, a piece of wood here, or I could literally make a sled, couldn't I? This actually goes in, ignore the red bit, and then this goes in between. And I have the locating pin somewhere. Anyway, I'm going to have some lunch.
I love having lunch. It gives me a chance to sit down and think about stuff. I sometimes don't think about work, but in this particular case, I thought a lot.
I spent a little bit of time researching different ways. I generally try not to. I try to just kind of come up with my own way, but I've tried so many different types of things to get this to work, and Unfortunately, it hasn't been working. So we're going to do a bit of a pivot. I think we are going to try to redo it a different way. How that different way is going to work out, well, just keep watching.
Yes, keep watching actually means I'll come back the following day and carry on with some work. So, the next day...
Okie dokie, right, well, this is new day, another setup after yesterday's attempt. Didn't quite work out that well, so we're going to try two alternatives today, but make a box somehow. Well, we'll work that out when we get there. So the idea really is to create a completely flat surface like this on both sides, and then I just put the piece of wood in between it. We got what did we get? A treadmill delivered, so we've got all of these little bits of offcuts. I can put together something like that, and then we'll obviously have to get this height right. That's my idea, and I was just trying to think, is it worth doing? I want to say to you, do you think so? But of course that is silly because you can't hear me. And the problem is, to attach this I need to use screws because I don't want to glue it. Take too long to glue. I can line this up here and I'll say cool, that's not going to get cut, so screw, screw, screw. Now of course before I did any of this I didn't have a table to work on, and now I do, and I'm happy.
Yes, so happy that I've made a video out of it. So you'll be able to click on it just up here.
It's great to be able to just put it underneath where you're working. So these are pretty simple. We just want to do like that. Kind of snug it up a little bit. Surprisingly not square. Okay. It's the only problem with this. You can't lie it flat. You can do this, but you know. Battery. Where did I put the battery? Battery. Or did I put the battery to that? Where did the battery to this go? Okay, I'm good to go. I'm not too sure what I've got in here, but we'll give it a go. Oh yeah. Well, I fired two in there and I didn't check it. It was silly of me. I'm going to take those out. Yep, that was difficult to get out, but I got it out, so we're all happy. I hate it when you pull the trigger and you doubt yourself. Know what they call that? I think I have to reset the gun, don't I? Yeah. No, it was a jam. No jam. I don't even know how I've marked this now. Well, one poked out the side.
I finished making the boxes and then I had to use a hole punch to make sure those nails went below the surface.
Okay, well, so we've got these two together. Now, are they flat? I mean, they're not totally together, and if I put our test wood in here and clamp them, it probably would work. There's a bit of a bump, but that's okay. That's not exactly stable, but we're actually going to put this on there so they stay together.
While I was nailing the base to that structure, a nail actually came all the way through where the wood's got to go, so I had to remove it.
Just having some pasta or lunch.
Speaking of lunch, now we're going to get into the real meat and potatoes.
Okay, well, this is, as a jig, this might work. I say might because I've still got to test the other side, but it kind of fits. I don't want to push it all the way in because these are only just sort of sticking there. It's looking like a nice tight fit actually. There's a lot of burning in the wood. That is because either this is not completely sharp, there's a lot of gum in this wood. It's not quite by knot, but you can see there's a vein of gummy stuff, and that's what I think probably caused a lot of the smoke. This bit still got its edge, but it's not as sharp as it was, and I do have a sharpener for it. How effective that's going to be is a whole different thing. And of course the other problem is that we completely ran out of battery, which is never a nice thing. We'll just give this a bit of a touch up. Feels sharp, may not be the best sharpness. So let's see if we can set this up in here. Moving everything else that's annoying out of the way. Now height is of course one problem here. We'll see how long this takes for this battery to die. Okay, that looks good. A couple of problems. There's some blowout here. Solve that problem? Well, could be because of the type of wood that I'm using. Second problem is, yeah, we go through the batteries quite a bit. That was because I had to route out these fingers. Now that I don't need to, I can simply not. Well, I'll tell you this much, that's tight. Probably too tight because I already broke a finger. And it won't seat all the way down, but that's pretty good. You can't quite see how good that is, but probably too tight, I think. To give it more room for the cut. Do I move the fence one way or the other? Well, actually I can't move the fence because we've already cut these. So I've kind of got to leave it where it is, which means that once we get to this point, well, we'll keep this, we'll put this somewhere, and we'll make the next piece. Now we can't go any further because we don't have any more battery.
Charged is what I meant to say. Some tools like this multi-tool last ages for some odd reason, whereas the router, it doesn't last long at all. So I did have to manage that just a little. When you're dealing with batteries going flat all the time, the last thing you want to be doing is waiting around. So I decided to call it a day. And Editing Sebastian decided to call this the end of the episode. I hope you have not found this painful watching me attempt to make these things and then essentially fail fail. This is the third or fourth one that I've tried that I've failed, all trying to do these interlocking fingers. Next week we get one step closer. In fact, next week's one's actually pretty cool. And I do some of this.
We can use this. I might even be able to put the old vacuum cleaner in here.
Along with a little bit of this.
You put the other one here.
Ha ha ha, that was me fake laughing. I'll be constantly posting videos all the way through Christmas and out the other side. I'll try my best to make sure I change the topic, because I've stayed on this topic simply to get through the bulk of it. On a personal note, thank you very much for watching my videos. I've really enjoyed making these videos, and I'm planning a lot more crazy stuff next year. So I'll see you next week, and have a great week, and I'll see you next week.